I believe we're live. Haha. Okay, let me count. Five, four, three, two, one. Hi, everybody. We're live. Yeah. Anyways, welcome to Compost Diaries. I'm Grace on Instagram. And today's episode, this is the third episode titled Design Your Farm. Today, we're going to discuss about aspects of farming and planning, how you're going to map out what you're going to grow, um, the system that we're going to create, how our operation is going to flow throughout the farm. And today, again, the same guest, the tropical farmer. Say hello, everybody. Hi, Jeff.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Yes, we're doing good, doing good. How was biocharing? How is your knees? How are your knees?
My knees are weak.
Yeah,
Try to
same
do
here,
some
same here.
charring. Try to do some charring today and just weak knees. Oh yeah, great. It'll feel good tomorrow.
All right, we'll have time to rest your legs and sit back and relax. But now we're gonna use our head muscles. Design your
Hey,
farm. So
before we start, I just want to do a quick update. We have something that's happening in South in right next to Philippines. Can you pull up the thing? So you see here, I just want to show everyone. See that purple bit there? That purple is a hurricane. It's hitting Philippines on the side. You can see that on the side. It's hitting there. Yeah.
yeah,
We are getting to tail end coming in. All right. So I think today, tomorrow, maybe for the week, it's going to be cloudy, lots of rain, good time to
yeah.
plant, good time to
Mm.
prune, a lot of rain this month. It looks
So
like
we
it.
can take advantage. No, it's a good time
It's
to
a good
grow.
Yeah, it's a good time to take advantage of this weather. If you need to cut, if you need to plant a lot of things, this is a good time. Brunei is safe from the hurricanes. We only get the tail end,
Mm.
but with all that rain coming down and cloudcast, it's a good time. All right,
Fantastic.
I just want to let you guys know that.
So heads up, any farmers, if you're thinking of growing, next week is a good week.
Yeah,
Mhm.
basically tomorrow.
Basically tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's
Back
go.
to design. I'll start with mine. Is that cool with you? All right. So I'm gonna start with mine first. So here is the farm is called No Agro. We started roughly this year, and it's an ongoing project. Uh, it's based somewhere in Tunku. I'm not too sure of the. Currently, we're using. Would you say like 1 acre? The farm,
That, I guess so.
right? Roughly 1 acre currently using. There's more, but we're starting out small. You see on the picture on the left side where my cursor is at, there's the HQ, and then on the right side are other areas, workshop, greenhouse, and other planting patches. So I did like a bird's eye view drawing of it. So it's basically this. So HQ, and there's a greenhouse, and then there's an empty space in the middle where you see over here this black netting, and then there's the workshop. So the workshop, all these are just basic roofs, elevated roughly like 8 feet, 8 feet tall. The workhouse is very tall, it's like 10 feet tall. The greenhouse is 8 feet tall, or 9 feet tall. Yeah. Then zone A, zone B, that's the plant. There's the main planting areas. So this is zone A. So HQ would be on the left side. It's basically HQ is on top of the hill, and zone A and B are just downhill. They're on a slope. Yeah. So this is zone A, and then this is zone B. I'm taking it from the bottom of the hill, and over there you see is this roof here is the workshop. We name it the workshop, and then this one with the blue water containers is the greenhouse. Yeah.
All right.
But anyways, yeah. So this is the rough drawing of it. And yeah, so in zone A, we got, you can see ubi kayu or tapioca, and we're growing more of that. And the main is the chilies. We're growing under the tapioca, taking advantage of the shade. And then we have few bananas planted here and there, trying to propagate that as well to increase, organic matter. And then zone B is actually more steep. Yeah, it's way steeper. It's bigger actually. So here we actually grew more variety, a lot more bananas. So we got bananas, we got chili, we got tapioca. We played around and grew corn, but it's for now it's just a sacrificial crop. We have papayas at the top, and we have moringas in 2 rows along the contours of the hill. A few kasturi trees at one side, and then sun hemp around the bananas. What else? Ironweed, yeah, and a good amount of ironweed in along the bed to just again increase organic matter. So that's essentially it. For now, the main focus is grow more organic matter and protect the soil, right? So
Yeah.
so when you talk about design, what I talked about just now is just crop selection, what I choose to grow at certain phase of the time. So the main crop in terms of cash flow was chili, but in order to make the chili sustainable, I need to grow the foundation, the sacrificial crop, the crop that protects the chili, the crop that feeds the chili. So that would be the tapioca, the ironweed, the bananas, the sun hemp. They have their each have their benefits. We can explain further along the podcast, but crop selection is key. You have to know that the one main important thing is patience. So it takes time and consistency taking care of these foundational crops before you focus on the chili. Because my previous farm, my from my experience, I made the mistake of straight away focusing on the cash crop. When I was working with the habaneros, if you remember the pictures, there were no supporting species around it at all. It's just bed, mulch, and just habaneros exposed to the elements. So that's why it failed miserably. So I do not want to repeat, the same mistake. So this time I'm really, really focusing on the foundation, taking care of the sacrificial crop. So later on, the sacrificial crop will take care my chilies for me. You get what I'm saying?
Keep going. Keep going.
All right, yeah. So essentially that's it. So what I actually want to get into today, like what actually like in a way got me thinking, because this one is like inherent to me right now in terms of crop selection. What I wanted to talk about is foot traffic. This is something that I would say a lot of people would not ignore, but they are unaware of, is foot traffic. What I mean by foot traffic is your operation at your workplace. Because this is labor, this is physical work. You're on your feet, right? So not everything is done sitting down or done within arm's reach. You have to move here and there. Zone A is there, zone B is somewhere else there. So you have to think about foot traffic. You're on your feet, you're walking. You want to just like economize your steps, economize your route. Don't just go one purpose action, because if every action you make is only just one purpose, you will burn out, you will get very tired, and if you're very tired, you won't have high quality work, and then it will show in your produce. You'll be so overwhelmed with the amount of work you have to do. So this is the workshop, which is up here. So the arrows is the one I want to focus on. The arrows represent basically the foot traffic, how we would walk through it, you know. So while working there, in my opinion, it still has a lot to work with, as in there's a lot to make changes and improve. And when you're designing, the best part of designing your farm is how it's alive. Your design is ever changing because you're constantly finding new things that influence your design, positive or negative. You might find problems, you might find solution, but in order to find those, you have to do action. Action creates reaction, and new things come alive. So while working at this farm, I noticed few things. I noticed our pattern, my pattern, how we move along the workshop. Because this here is zone B, and then the other side here is zone A. So this is our basic route. Because here is downhill, so we do not walk here. So we walk here, and then we walk this way. The arrows represent back and forth. So it's roughly like the size of it, like I've written here, it's a 20-foot long space. So this is a 20-foot long space. Underneath is just clay. So it does get muddy from time to time. That's why I emphasize here raised work table, because you want it, you're on your feet. This area you're not gonna sit down. And then here we'll have tools that are, the big long handled tools. And then here is essentially the biocharing station. This is where we do our biochar, then the compost pile. Here is where we chop the wood and store the wood. And we have to take account of the sun and rain. And as it goes on, this design will just improve and get more specific. And basically, it'll just tune to you.
Okay. You can't go so deep. Don't go so
Yeah,
deep.
sorry.
You're going too deep.
Too deep. Anyways, this is the HQ again, like from the early picture. This is the HQ over here on the left side. It's still a lot to work with, as in there are rooms to improve on the HQ. You want your HQ to be comfortable, well lit, a space for you to sit down, rest, and actually think. So again, here's the main foot traffic back and forth. And this is what I want, what I can envision becoming. Again, tools, gear, oil for machinery, personal items, your hats, your gear. The sun is on the left side, if you can see, near the No Agro title. And then your boots is out there to dry. Because in my opinion, I don't want boots inside the HQ because you'll get mud everywhere. Long table, again, table is very important. That's where you have a clear space, clear mind, a clear room represents the mind. Same thing with the HQ. It has to be neat and tidy so you can have a clear vision of your work. Yeah. And then fan would be you know, to make you comfortable and not die all the time. Ventilation is key. But yeah, this is essentially what I wanted to focus on, because this is what a lot of people, in my opinion, would tend to forget, is to take care and plan out their HQ and their workspace. Because people would plan out their crop like this. This is like basic again for zone A. Here is like a bird's eye written map out. This is the greenhouse, the herbal bed, and then there's the old ubi kayu, then there's the future chili, new ubi kayu, chilies, ubi kayu, and then that's where I label the sun. Again, this is basic planning. I believe majority of the farmers would focus on this, but I want to emphasize how actually planning out your work operation in terms of foot traffic is also very important. Yeah, so that's essentially what I'm thinking a lot about this past few weeks. Yeah. So what do you think?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Hey, could you put to your first photo? All right. To summarize, what you're talking about is your headquarters. The headquarters. So what we're trying to say is majority of all the headquarters that we do see here in Brunei are nasty. All right. I will try. It's an it, it's nasty. It's always tools are everywhere. Nothing is organized. You can't find anything. You never return the shovels back. There's no proper
Mhm.
seating. There's no proper way to relax. There's none of
Yeah.
that. That's what you're trying to emphasize is the
It's
headquarters.
all
So
over the place.
yeah, there's no proper organization, and
Mhm.
the headquarters is the first thing that you see and the last thing that you see. So you want to organize that because that's your lifeline. Really, that's your lifeline. The place where you rest, the place where you can
Yeah, I agree.
be
I agree.
creative and think and all that jazz. So yes, I get that. That's what I did for my side too. That's what I did for my side. I organized it.
It's the first impression, when you arrive the farm, you see the HQ. Even whether it's a guest, employee, or the farmer themselves, they arrive, the first thing they see is the HQ. If it's messy, you won't necessarily feel motivated. You would feel like, oh,
Don't worry about the guests. Don't worry about all those all that.
yeah.
It's for your sake. It's for your sake to be organized because you're running a farm. The design of a headquarters should always be neat, tidy, and organized. You're running a farm.
Mm.
You should be organized. You're not. Okay. From this picture, I can see is the headquarters is not organized. Okay. Shall I? How rough shall I be?
Yeah, you can go rough. It's fine.
Headquarters is a total mess. You don't have a proper table, you don't have a proper shelving, you don't have proper ways to keep your tools. Everything is left, right, and center. It's really just here and there.
Yeah.
You got pipes. I can see a pipe just sitting out in the sun. These what's this buckets? Everything.
Mm.
Nothing is organized properly. You got to spend at least once a week to organize your headquarters at least, because that would determine your farm overall. And then could you go to your second photo? Oh yeah, it is. No, no, yeah, no, 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 no. Sorry, fourth. Next. Yeah, right. Oh dear, I didn't see it at that point. Okay,
Yeah, you couldn't
one.
go down your knee.
I couldn't go down there. One, it's extremely messy. It's really disorganized. It's everything's everywhere. You got wood everywhere. It's either pick it up or stack it properly. Create create mini mini dams to collect all the debris that come down, or use it as biochar, or you should spend a good amount of time to tidy the entire place up. I'm sure, because it's just all over the place. You don't have enough supporting species. There's not enough. I can see is that bitter leaf? It's not enough. You're supposed to be planting more. You're supposed to just
Hmm.
pack it out. And what's your cash crop?
For now, it's chilies, Thai chilies.
So is it that this side cannot plant the chilies?
Currently they're alive. This is the first batch, so I don't expect greatness, but they're at the stage where it's flowering already. So it's
Right,
according to schedule.
right. So your design at this point, because I'm guessing that when the farm came up, there was no design. It was all just
No,
just
when I came in, I was more focused on something else within their farmland, and then
right.
suddenly one day, they got the excavator to make you know clear this and clear this. So they understood that it's time to start growing something here. And I emphasized them like, since you got the excavator, you better start planting here, or else this, good soil will either be washed away or burnt by the sun. So this is essentially roughly my plan. But
It's
of,
a
of
lot of
course,
work.
I've collabed with the farmer in sharing ideas. So yeah.
I can see a lot of work here. You don't have enough crops. Uh, I can't see any chili from this picture. If the bottom one is sweet potato, far
Yeah.
left,
Yeah, it
that's sweet
is.
potato. All right,
Yeah.
that's good. You guys need to concentrate on chilies even more so. And you got, yes, you plant the sporting species, but you cash flow. You need to create that cash flow. So your design of this land, of all the land, should be more chilies. But is that how do you plant the chilies? Because this looks compacted.
What do you mean? The on each row, you can roughly say it's the width of the row is 2 feet. The length, I'm not too sure. However, roughly there are total of 120 in this area. 120 chilies here. The distance of it is 1 feet,
All
1.5
right.
feet,
Okay.
far apart.
Can you minimize the photo a bit?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you can minimize the photo. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Okay. All right. No. Oh, okay, doesn't matter. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, you like for any farm in Brunei, you need to create that cash flow,
Hmm.
and and right now there isn't any, and you're not going to get any for a while. So you need to look into that development of how do you plant enough chilies to create that cash flow. You mentioned you got chilies, ubi kayu, what else? Sweet potato,
Sweet potato, the
sweet corn. I saw
bananas.
sweet corn,
Yeah.
bananas, and yeah. So the amount of bananas you have, is it reaching 50?
I can safely say yes.
How
50.
old?
Uh, Not old enough to fruit anytime soon.
Okay,
That I'm not too
so 1 year.
sure. It's definitely less than a year. It's definitely less than a year. Height wise, it's like the tallest one is taller than me, but it's just one out of the many.
Yeah, so
Majority
it's a
is
year.
just like 4 feet.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a year. You're
Yeah, it's
looking over
far.
a year. Yeah, it's far. Uh, so when it comes to design, right now for your side, it's too late in a way. Actually, I think it's a bit too late, because you're supposed to design You're supposed to design bang
Before
on in the
anything.
beginning, before
Yeah, yeah.
anything, before the excavator even comes in. Even if you know the excavator's coming in, you should be designing when it comes in, and you got to have everything ready. As soon
Yeah.
as the excavator leaves, you plant, you go, because it's you're on a time, you're on a timer. But right now, I think it's too late to carry on with any design. So I would look into, yes, your foot traffic, the way you walk, you concentrate on that, and keep it small. You got a lot of places to plant. You should plant like crazy.
That's
And all that wood, you need to tidy it up. So this advice is for existing farms who are in trouble, or is getting into trouble. So
mm,
this is one, because there's not enough sales, there's not enough cash flow to keep you going, if you know
yeah.
what
It
I mean.
doesn't matter how your farm is like or designed if there's no cash flow. So right now, my main concern, of course, the biggest goal of this farm is to create cash flow
Yeah.
and
So
maintain it.
yeah, so I would just look at that first, which means you need to plant as much chilies as humanly possible on every square inch,
Mm,
everywhere, anywhere. It don't matter right now, or in my view. I'll just bang it in. That's what I would do.
mm,
If you know where you're walking, you just don't plant there. That's all. You don't worry about the chili. It's gonna you'll have some that grow, you'll have some that die. It doesn't matter. You
yeah.
keep planting, you keep planting, you keep planting. You don't stop. And then once you've planted that, then you can look into the sporting species, the cut and drops, and all that.
Oh, that's
This
kind of like quite a reverse to
yeah
my
yeah
thinking.
yeah okay. So from experience, supporting species and cut and drops take time. They still take time, and you still need to look into how to do that, and all that stuff. But
Mm.
because you are short on time, you well
Ah,
because you're short on time, and you need to create that cash flow, you need to look at that first. You
yeah.
see, you know what I mean? And Chile is by far the best Brunei standard. Chile has a consistent price tag to it. Uh, the land is small compared to other places around the world. So the land is small. You don't have much workforce. Hard road to get to. No electricity. No water. It's like a free for all place. There's no fences. It's tough, for sure.
Mm.
So plant chili and just keep planting and keep planting and keep planting. So what you look at is, how do you plant the chili? And
That's
then you
a
figure
question
out,
to keep in mind.
yeah, the question you should be looking at is, how do you plant the chili? And then you look
Mm.
at all the other sporting species, cut and drops, all that. You look at all that later.
Okay.
Get into the chili first. Get into the chili. Every square inch of that place, plant, 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 plant. Once you get that cash flow going, you can breathe. So I've
Mm.
changed my mind on how to design for farms in Brunei. This is for Brunei, because we struggle here in Brunei with not enough resources, not enough knowledge, not enough of many things, and a lot of red tapes. And it's a real challenge to grow here. It's a really real challenge. If you've never done it before, it's a challenge. Okay, the weather,
So, so you're
everything.
saying for our case and other farmers' case in Brunei, plant your cash crop first.
Every scenario is different. I'm just saying this
Mm.
based on your scenario.
Okay, okay.
I'm saying this based on your scenario. Every scenario is different, because I have my scenario, which I'll show in a minute. I'll
Mm.
show you that one. But your scenario, the way I see it, you got wood, fantastic. Char it,
Yeah,
inoculate it, and then use it to plant.
yeah.
How do you plant? How do you guys plant?
Um, not zigzag, just in one line,
No, no,
linear.
no, no, no. I mean, when you put it in the ground, how do you put it in the ground?
Uh, Fork it or make a hole and then throw in some compost. Then put the sapling, cover with mulch.
Okay, what sort of compost you got?
Right now we got compost from the Tamu, but that was back then. Now we're trying to make our own compost, but again, that takes time.
That's not compost. The one from the
Mm.
Tamu? That's
Yeah.
topsoil.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Topsoil.
Yeah, that's topsoil. Okay. Uh you need okay, if you do use the topsoil, if you use the topsoil because that's what you got, you need to add the biochar together with it. And you need to
Okay.
make a hole a little bit bigger. Make sure reason for the char is it'll it will keep the soil aerated.
Yeah.
Keep the soil with so it doesn't compact. So the first growing may not be that great, but the second growing will be better.
Mm-hmm.
First inoculate the char, mix it together with the topsoil that you have already, and then bang it in.
Mm.
And during that time, once you put that, during those times when it's really hot, you work on the compost. You have to work on the compost. If you do not have the compost or the time to do the compost, just go full blown biochar.
Mm.
Make the char, make the char, inoculate the char, dig the hole. Don't need to fork it. Just use the chunkor or spade, whack it in,
Yeah.
uh, and then you throw the char in, and then you smash it, mix it together with the soil that is currently there, and then you
Yeah.
plant it, and then you mulch it.
Yeah.
Do that. Just do that. It can be a sort of a one-time thing for now, but do that first. You want
Mm.
to concentrate on growing the chilies well to create the cash flow. And once you've planted the chili, then you can look at planting the supporting species because it'll take 3 months for the chili to grow. It'll take 3 months for the chili to grow. So within that 3 months, you got time to plant all the supporting species.
Oh,
Supporting species.
when you put the chili in the soil, then
Yeah.
you focus on supporting
Yeah.
species as the chili is growing.
Yes. Right now, don't think about putting all your hopes on this first growing season of chili.
Yeah, yeah, of
You
course.
just want to plant it in because the more time you waste, the worse it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, this is only for Brunei here. This is only for Brunei because if you're hearing this if you're hearing this on from other countries, we cannot call for compost. We do not have a compost company. We do not have a mulching company. We do not have seedling companies here. All our seeds are fairly expensive because they're flown in from overseas. Resource wise, Brunei is tight. It's very, very tight, and our knowledge is tight. Our weather is extreme hot, wet, hot, wet. Our soil is acidic and heavily clay, and we're mostly slope based. When it rains, it
Yeah,
washes the top soil, it washes the first layer off immediately, and then the sun comes out and bakes everything.
yeah.
I paint a very pretty picture, but it's
On a
a
scale to 1 to 10,
it's a 10.
on one being heaven and 10 being the worst, we're a 10.
We're a 10. At least a desert, yeah, can maintain. At least it maintains its weather. For Brunei, you will get a 5 minute shower, and this shower is cats and dogs, unimaginable. 5 minute cats and dogs. After that, it's bright sunshine the rest of the day. It is
Mm.
it is harsh for plants here. It is very harsh. So you concentrate. That's why this the way I would tackle it is that's the best way I could tackle it based
Cash
on
crop.
your because financially as well it's hard and you're not sure what works what don't work and this is the easiest fastest way in my view to get the land running
Mm.
because if not
Okay.
you're in trouble. Yeah. And then you can worry about all the other stuff later on.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
That's my view. That's my view. Yeah. It's a I've read the books online, and I've watched it. I've watched all the documentaries and programs, and I've gone overseas to learn about farming and all these techniques and methods on how to do this. When you come back here, it's just so different that a lot that you learn there, you can't take it all, you can't use it all, because it's the weather so
Unapplicable.
radical. It's not,
You cannot apply it, or
you can't apply it fully. You
yeah.
can't apply it fully. You can't apply it fully. Even trying to make compost, one of the main ingredients or most important ingredients is cow manure. You got no
Mm,
source of cow manure. If you do, you got to drive quite far. You got to pick it up yourself, and it's all dirt, and it's just messy,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
it's not easy. It's not easy. We lack many things, so we just got to do with what we got, and
Yeah.
this is it. So yeah, that's my advice for you, mate. You got any more pictures?
That's all for now that I wanted to share. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you're talking about the foot traffic, that will develop as you go. As you
Mm,
plant, you do. As you plant, you do. Make sure that you make your foot path is level. If it's not, get a charcoal, level it, and then work on it. And then work on your
yeah.
chilies. And just plant and plant and plant and plant and plant. Right now, you guys, you can't, you shouldn't be doing too much of other things. Don't worry about it. Just plant.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
agree.
Yeah. You got any questions?
I'm thinking about right now. You talk about the chanko to the hoe to level the walkway, but I need to try it out first before I have any more questions.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh okay. The you're talking about the
making
what you call
the
it?
walkway level.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to try that out first.
That you should do as you go. You organize your time. You have to organize
Mm,
your time correctly, and then it'll be fine. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So my turn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. All right. Okay.
You ready?
All right. Go. Go. Is it is it clear? All
You can
right.
zoom in more.
Can I? Okay. So this land is also somewhere in Rimba. This land is somewhere in Rimba. It's a 2 acre land. It's flat ground. You can see it's flat ground. This is the case is it's a watermelon farm. And in the middle, there's a big drain for some odd reason, which is super weird. From this,
Where are we looking at? Is it that green square on the top right?
that's his HQ.
Okay, so where is this big drain?
You can't see it. It's right here.
Ah, okay, I see your cursor. The center. Okay.
Yeah, it's here. This here is his HQ. Uh, so this is on the Google Maps. And this is old.
Mm,
He did have a makeshift greenhouse that's gone already. He
okay.
tried to do a makeshift greenhouse here. It's gone as well.
Okay.
And his land is basically like this, like this, like this, and like these, like these.
Is it
Two
what's
acre.
the is it hilly?
Oh yeah, I'll get to that. So it's a
Mm,
2 acre land, flat land, slight gradient, 1 2 degrees only. He's
mm,
taken in an excavator again and wiped everything out, so it's all just weeds and grass at this time. He couldn't do this side here inside because there was a big drain inside, so he couldn't get that one. Land is clay base, very very clayey, hard, tough as nails. Uh, Hardly any organic matter left on any sides. No more trees, nothing to cut down, no shade, super bright. Okay, that's what that is. Oops, not this picture, this picture. So that's what it looks like. You can see it's flat ground. You can see how compacted the ground is.
Oh, I
That's
see
his
the
HQ.
weeds.
So this guy has limited funds, very, very limited funds. So there's only a certain amount that you can do.
Yeah.
So it's a very challenging design. It's practically clean. So this is the right time to have a nice design for this farm.
Mm.
That's what it looks like there. If you see here where I could putting my cursor, there's a small drain here. So that's the boundary.
Yeah.
And all this here is just grass. That's all
Hmm.
that is. I have a picture of the grass. Yeah, see? It's just grass. That's all. And it's sort of a woody grass as well. That's his land. So it's again, you can see it's flat, a slight gradient, very compacted. There's a few bits and bobs of pooling around the area. This is his
Hmm.
sort of his makeshift greenhouse to grow his nursery, which is struggling. And then he is trying to do the mulching technique. So rows with with mulch, and they let the grass grow. You run inside here to cut the grass, and then you mulch. And you
Yeah.
just throw the mulch on top of this, but it's not enough. It's actually the mulch is too thin. I think the row is a bit too. It's either too
Narrow.
wide, too narrow. I think it's too narrow. If you want more grass, you got to be wider.
Exact. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's right now. There's no design. Is he's just plonking it down without any thought. You can see here compacted pooling. There's some pooling here.
Yeah.
Here's compact. Yeah, and his greenhouse that he was trying to grow other stuff in. Oh, I didn't put that the photo in. Okay. Now, my idea for this
Yeah.
is this one is really tough because of his limited budget. So what can you do? Or how are you going to help this farmer design? There's only so much. Practically, he can't really buy much except watermelon seeds. And why? Is because his crops are not great.
Has he already grown? Oh, I do see it. Oh,
It's
that's a
struggling.
very
You
good
can
camera.
see. It's from my phone, dude. You
Mm.
can see it's struggling. He's got his water there. That's his rainwater that he collects. But you can see the plants are struggling. It's not healthy. Watermelon, I think it's midway through. I'm not sure, but you can see the yield is low. Yield is low.
Yeah.
The row, I believe his row is too small. So this, I reckon, it needs to be changed out. So what do you think should be done with this on minimal budget? Is that a great going to be a great design or what? Close
Design your
to
farm with minimal and limited funds. Ah,
Yeah,
that's difficult.
limited to no funds to help build this. You can't bring in compost because we don't have compost. You can't bring in mulch because we don't have a mulching company. You
Can't
can't
bring
bring in
in
the cow
cow
manure.
manure.
You can't really bring that in because there's no one to scoop it up. We don't have any tractors to put it into a proper car or proper truck and then let it come down because what it comes from that is just and it's only one guy doing this. There's no one else. There's one dude doing all this. Naturally he will feel extremely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the headquarters area. What do you do as a farmer with this sort of land? It's fairly devastating. So this is my plan. All right. Right now he's got no border. Okay, we'll start with the border. Right now there's no border. I would suggest to him to install a border, but not a physical, not physical, not a metal border, but a hedge.
Yeah.
Go with a hedge. Go with a hedge plant. Eh? What happened to the thing? If you go with a hedge plant, that would go wonderful. So what's a hedge plant? I have a photo here.
Yeah.
Hedge,
Yeah.
hedge. It's a natural fence. It's a
Mhm.
natural fence. It'll keep predators out. And with this sort of fence, this is a woody crop, and you'll need to maintain this by using one of those long blades, long
Mhm.
saw blades.
Yeah.
So you get those long saw blades, and then you prune the top, the side to keep it pretty. And every time you prune that, because this crop is uh, it's a really woody crop. The leaves take a long time to break down, and there's a lot of carbon in this. You,
Yeah. A very high carbon
there's a high. This one's high carbon.
foliage.
You cut all this, and all you do, scoop it up, and then use this as your mulch.
Yeah.
So you have two effects. So this is a wonderful hedge. This is a wonderful plant to create a fence to cover the entire area and to give you resource of mulching. And I reckon you can do it once every 2 months.
The pruning.
Imagine you got a hedge covering 2 acres from all
Mm.
sides. That's a lot. That that's a lot of material right there. And then the next is he should be planting legume plants. So leguminous plants are natural nitrogen fixers. In Brunei, they grow abundant because our land is that poor. They're a pioneering species. They come in
Mm.
to get the land ready for the advanced crops to plant.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll see them all around Brunei. They're all seed. There's all sorts. There's all sorts. The rain tree, the golden flower, the patai china. There's all sorts to choose from for this for this plant. So you want to plant this, and I would recommend planting this in between the rows. Sorry, in the rows itself. So
In between the crops.
if this is a 5 meter row, you'll want to plant it every, I reckon, 2 meters, one every 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters, and then
How long
repeat.
is the row?
I'm not sure. I didn't count it.
Roughly,
I have
you
no
can say
idea.
like more than 10.
I have no idea. To however long it is, you plant this tree
Every
every two
two
meters.
meters.
Every 2 meters.
Okay.
You plant this or the bitter leaf that you mentioned before, the bitter leaf, which is this plant.
Yeah.
So this is a bitter leaf plant. It
Mm.
originated from Africa. It's very good for the stomach. Hardly gets in the disease. It's such a powerful plant, and it's a great it's a great plant to cut and drop, but you must cut it early. Should cut it early, or use it as a compost material. You Because this is my old plot. This is already cut, so I cut it in a style called coppice. Coppice. There's two styles that you can cut. So
Coppice.
once you planted these trees, once you planted the bitter leaf and the legume trees, let them grow. When they grow,
Yeah.
when they get to a certain stage or certain height, then you cut it. You cut it into little bits, and then you drop it onto the ground to act as a mulch, act as a mulch. That way, at least there's carbon here, because when you use grass, there's not enough carbon in this grass for
Doesn't
multiplying.
last long.
Doesn't last long. It disappears really fast. I reckon when he first did it, it looked great, but
Mm-hmm.
because of our climate, it ate away really fast,
Yes.
really, really fast. So when you cut it, let it grow, cut it, and then you choose which one to cut. Either coppice, 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 whatever,
I'll just say
and pollard.
coppice.
Coppice, yeah. So the top bit is coppice, and B is pollard. Coppice is you cut at the bottom, you let it grow, you cut it at the bottom, and then it comes back up again. You constantly cut it at the bottom, and it'll keep coming back up. Pollard is you cut the top, and then it come back up again. So you have two different methods,
Styles.
styles. Yeah, two different styles. For the bitter leaf, you do it as a coppice. You cut it at the bottom right there, because it's like you can see from this picture, from what I did. That's coppice right there. Bitter leaf, once bitter leaf has set its roots into the ground, and you've already pruned it, it'll take 1 month to get up to 6 feet, 6 to 7 feet. It'll take 1 month.
When the root sets, how long does it take for the root to set?
It depends on the land. The worse, the better, I guess. This sort of plant loves bad soil. But it's we calculated it. We calculated this. It's a soft wood. It's really soft. We shredded this and turned it into compost, and that was gorgeous. We shredded a lot and then turned it into compost. It really took 1 month to get to 6 feet high.
When the roots are set in, that's the best part.
Once it's set in the ground, once it's nice and stabilized, it takes 1 month to get to at least 6 feet high.
Say hi, everybody. Say hi,
crazy.
everybody. My cat
Kitty
just walked
cat.
to my room. Yeah, give me a moment to put him back in his room.
Yeah. Manja. Yeah. So this is a very good. You go ahead. I can carry on. So this is a really good crop as a chop and drop. You can also use the leaf if you have a stomachache. You can use the leaf to drink as a tea, and you can also take the tip off this here and use it as a fertilizer. If you add some sugar and add this tip here, it turns into an amazing fertilizer, which we can get to a different time. So this should be planted as well, I reckon. And then it gets to a point that once it's overlived its use, you can take it out. So what I have plans for this farm is to look something like this, where this is a legume tree, this is a hummingbird tree. You have these trees reaching up to the sky in this manner, and I'm not sure, this hummingbird gets to about 1 story and it stops. It doesn't get any higher than that. At the bottom, you plant your crop. So I was planting corn under these, and it looked like this in the beginning. So I have 1 row of hummingbird legume trees. I had 3 grow beds, and then another row of hummingbird trees. And the plan for this particular project was it's supposed to go all the way down to the end, but I never got there. Anyway, the hummingbird trees, the leaves are very small, acts as a good
Mulch.
Organic matter.
Yeah.
But this was a really nice system. So I want to replicate this sort of system at this watermelon farm. Less hummingbird trees, but my plan is for that sort of system to be replicated onto this piece of land here.
Do you have a legume species in mind when you're going to try it
No,
here?
not yet. Okay. All I know is this sort of system to be implemented here.
It's possible.
Anything's possible. It's whether you got the idea to do it or not. But that's my idea. to have that sort of system implemented here, and then the surrounding the whole farm is shrubs.
Yeah.
And okay, then the next one is when you're planting the watermelon, to keep the pests down, we plant Thai basil or lemon basil. Thai
Herbs.
basil or lemon basil. These two. So these two are fairly native to Brunei. Tough as nails, really tough as nails. They can take the drought. They can take the rain
The
as
heat.
well. And the soil, they can take bad soil. But with these plants, you must prune. More pruning, the better.
You want
As a
them to
sale,
bush.
as a sales, you can sell it
Mm.
to restaurants if you want to. You don't have to. You grow it into in a bush and you cut. You can use this as a chop and drop, or you can use it as chop and drop, or you can use it to make your own compost pile. So that's one of the plans. You're growing to grow enough crops here so that he can start making his own compost piles, but starting from nothing because the farmer hardly got any funds to start with, and these are cheap in the market. This one is cheap. This one is fairly cheap. This one is free.
You have to find it. Yeah.
You got to find it. You got to find it. But it can be done. If I could do it, if I could grow corn, if I could grow corn under trees, in between two lines of trees, you
Yeah.
can grow watermelon. You
Yeah.
can do it. It can be done. It just need to have more
And
faith, more trust,
patience.
and it can work. And patience, yeah. And for him as well, what will be very important is biochar as well, because the ground is compacted clay. It needs to be aerated. It needs to be fluffed up more. I cannot emphasize this enough. The biochar he must use. I really do think every farm that grows in the ground should be using biochar. They should be taught on how to make it, how to inoculate it, and how to use it.
Mm.
It's so important to use the biochar because it's an Amazonian technology, and look what it did for them centuries later. We can use it. We should use it.
We
It's
have to
so
use it.
important. We got to use it. It's so important. But we're not there yet. We're still not there yet. Yeah. Anyway, that's my design. You got any questions for my design? It's a very simple. This this is as simple as you can get because of the farmers' financial.
And the fact that it's only a one-man farm.
Yeah,
This is the
it's a
system.
it's a one-man farm. Financial constraints, lack of resources. He got to be very careful on what he can spend on. Very careful because he spent a lot already.
So could you list out the workloads that are at the farm with this design?
Say again.
Could you list out the workloads in this design of yours? So there's planting the hedges, and
Yeah. So
then
yeah.
planting the
So
hedges, and then planting the legumes, and
you
then
plant by
compost
seeds.
making.
Compost making is later. He can't make any compost now. He just needs to concentrate on
Planting.
using the grass. He
Mm.
got lots of grass all around his property. You see here.
Does he use the grass cutter machine, or does he use a sickle?
You use the grass cutter machine, but
Mm.
he's using the wrong blade.
Okay.
So it comes down to the blade, not understanding which
The
blade to
purpose of
use.
tools.
Yeah, the purpose of tools. He doesn't know the purpose of tools. But he needs to. Right now, if he just carries on using the grass, fine. But he should start you going into the direction of seed collecting the legume trees that is scattered all around Brunei. You use that and you plant there.
Yeah.
Then you start sourcing for the herbs to plant and then learn how to propagate it and keep planting it because that will save the watermelons from pests coming in.
Mm.
With this open space, you see this such a huge open space. Anything can get there. Any bugs can just fly in. They'll just see it in the heartbeat and just attack.
Yeah.
But if you camouflage it with smell and looks, it'll be harder for the pest to attack.
Yeah.
So that's why the wall, which is the hedge, is a good source of mulch, organic matter. It's a
Yeah.
good way for birds to live inside as well, because with birds,
Mm-hmm.
they can consume the flying pests that's all around. So that's
Yeah.
an added benefit. And it's just, and it's living. You can, the more stuff you grow, the better.
That is true.
So it's a very simple. I thought about it, and okay, it's the simplest thing I can think of is this. And one man operation is not easy. Seriously, not easy. One man operation. So I'll slowly keep working with him. Uh, it's
So,
the
in
best I can.
terms of irrigation, I believe I myself did not talk about it in my design. How would you apply that? Because he has the blue tanks, he has the rain catcher, so does my side, but we don't really think about irrigation because we use heavy mulching as our irrigation.
Yes, and the land is compact. Water just sits there. When you dig a hole, that hole just collects water. I would just heavy mulch, heavy mulch. That
Mm.
will save you. If you just heavy mulch and keep planting the supporting species and cut and drop whenever you can, that's one of the easiest ways. If you're doing vegetables, then you'll need to look at the water properly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, if you in for your chilies, initially you want to get the fungal dominated
Mycelia.
land back. Once you get
Mm.
that back, you don't need to worry about the water as much anymore because the mycelia will take care of that. But for this land, it's much more bacterial. It's harder. But you're dealing with watermelon.
Is watermelon
Although,
a bacteria-based
yeah,
crop?
yeah, it is. But you don't get fooled. Although it's a watermelon, it doesn't like that much water.
Yeah. You'll
Yeah,
dilute the fruit and crack
you
it.
don't- you crack it. You cracks the fruit. If it cracks the fruit, if it cracks the fruit, that makes it really hard to transport. Most people don't like that. If it cracks, there's too much water.
Yeah.
So if you can, you got to find a sweet zone in planting this. But
How
yeah,
long is a watermelon? Is it a 60-day? Is it a
90 day,
3 month crop?
90-day crop. Yeah,
Mm.
it's a 90-day crop. So I find this a very nice, interesting project to
Would you
play.
say watermelon planting style, the way you treat and use watermelon crops, would you say it can be the same for pumpkins?
No, different. Pumpkins, you can be rough. You can be rougher with pumpkins. You got to be softer with watermelon. Look at
Mm,
the
okay.
leaf structure of pumpkin. It's massive. Grow pumpkin correctly, the structure of the leaf, I mean the size of the leaf will bigger than your face, yo. Huge those things. Especially if you grow Raja. there's this particular hybrid
Yeah,
pumpkin I used to grow called Raja. The
15
king,
kilos.
the
I
king,
remember.
no, kilos, 5 kilos,
No,
50 kilos. It
no, it
wasn't 50
was
kilos.
15, wasn't it not? It's like
Was it 15? It
this
was
big. How is this
gigantic.
not?
Yeah,
It was not this
yeah,
not
yeah.
5 kilos. It's
My,
very heavy.
my weighing machine could not weigh it. Yeah,
It weighed
it
like a
was
bag of
heavy.
rice.
Yeah, yeah. That was an insane size. That was just ridiculous how
But
big that.
but the thing is, Jeff, I remember I tried growing pumpkin because you say you can, rough and tough. But I tried
Yeah,
growing it and I grew it on clay, and the whole plant was just my hand size, and it just died. Not the leaf, the whole plant. So the whole plant was just this size. The leaves are
yeah,
just sparse here and there. And then we just try to salvage the plant. So it did grow its whole cycle of 3 months, and then it flowered, and then it fruit, but it died. It was a sad sight. I'm like, I remember at Jeff's farm, it was just glorious. And mine is like so sad and death.
yeah. Well, you didn't prep the land properly.
Yeah.
You
It's-
didn't prep the land properly. The land was way too compact. It was
That's
way
why
too
right
compact.
now,
So it
that's why
didn't
right now I'm always thinking about, make sure the land's ready, make sure the land's ready.
make sure the land's ready before you plant any advanced crop. If you don't have the time, like I said,
Yeah.
you don't have the time. Put a little bit more back work into it. Make the hole a little bit larger. Fill it up with inoculated biochar, and then you plant. Try it
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
If you got no time to plant these sporting species, then try something else. This one, the because this land originally is clay based, it's compacted clay as well. The roots went sideways. The roots will go sideways. Yeah, it just goes.
What would you do if that happened?
Nothing. You just leave it. You just keep cutting. Growing this for the organic matter. Growing this
Mm.
was for the organic matter, and the way, in hindsight, it was better if it was in a row, and then just come in with a chainsaw and just go.
What do
That
you
would have
mean
been the
in a
best.
row? Aren't these in rows?
No, look. Okay, yes, it's in a row, but dude, there's gaps. Filling the gaps. You can use the bitter leaf as a hedge. Put it
Or
that
you
way.
want it denser? All
Yeah,
like,
you do
okay.
it like a hedge.
Okay. Okay.
You grow it like a hedge.
Hmm.
If you need a lot of organic matter, one plot is not enough. You should have two, and you let that grow, and then you cut the other one, so you can always go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So you have less buffer time. This one you still have to wait a month. You can lessen that with one extra row, two extra row. Too deep, too deep. Okay,
When you plant these iron
come back,
weed,
come back, come
did you
back.
use just did you just chop, get a stem, and then just stab it in the ground?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
that's it. I should have done more.
How was the soil like in the beginning? Was it compacted clay?
The soil was horrendous. The soil was terrible. It was really bad. And there's
And
still
then how
bits and
long did
bobs
it take
here.
to set the roots for your case?
I'm not sure. 2, 3
Was
months.
it 2, 3 months? Okay.
First time, 2, 3 months, and then just keep chopping it. Keep chopping it. Keep chopping it. Treat it tough, and then it'll just keep giving you nonstop. I should have planted this denser. I should have planted this much denser. Anyway, this was what I tried to do ages ago. This one, I should research a bit more. This one needs a bit more research on how to use properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my plan for this farm. Very simple, very simple, straightforward. Take lots of doesn't take the farmer too much of his finances. Can get something back in terms of watermelon.
In your opinion, it's on the low cost side of startup, right?
Yeah. Actually, hold on. I just remembered I did a quick document on it. Okay, yeah. Let me just stop this. Show you. I just remembered. I totally forgot about it. Hold on, hold on. Here you go. Okay, so this is my initial plan.
Is it here on the stream?
So this is my initial plan
Yeah.
to segregate the entire land into 5 zones: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zones. 6 zones. E is not considered because it's like a big drain inside there. Right now, I don't consider it. A is the headquarters, and then B, C, D, E, F. E and F supposed to be solved. But that's the order of how I would wish the farmer to start working on. So you start working on the headquarters and make it prettier, better, and then you go to B, and he starts working on B, and it should be this entire thing. The blue is the walk path. The blue line is the walk path, and the
Oh,
white
okay.
line is the hedge.
I see it. What about the orange?
Headquarters.
No, there's orange lines within F, D,
Zone,
B.
zone.
Those are
That's a
zones.
zone.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't change it back to square. It was it just left the oval. That's all.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
but that's my view. Straightforward, simple. Again, I can't emphasize
Looks
that enough for the farmer.
looks very good. Looks as in like understandable. The blue represents your foot road, and the white represents the hedge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some, and this is the order of planting for each row.
Oh.
But walk path about 2 to 3 feet apart, so it's tiny, tiny. I might change that. We'll see. W represents watermelon.
Mm.
LT is apa ni LT again? Legume
Legume.
tree.
Yeah. Watermelon, legume
W.
tree.
Oh, this is my old one. This is not the new one. Oh well. In the middle, it's supposed to be watermelon. It was supposed to be watermelon and then basil, legume tree, watermelon, basil. Basil's supposed to be inside here as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that's supposed to be inside there. But yep, that's me plan. That's me plan for Mr. Watermelon Farmer, which I don't know if he's gonna go for it. Maybe not.
But I understand
You
it.
know,
It looks good.
sometimes these guys, although you may give them a plan, they don't really stick to it. They always go off tangent somehow. Someone says something, and then they go off tangent. Boom, and then
Yeah, it's
and then the
natural.
plan goes straight out the window. What to do, man? What to do? If you can't stay, if you give the advice and they don't want the advice.
It's natural. It's natural, right? Just stay patient and yeah, hopefully they stick to it. Hopefully they can keep focus and then see the plan come to life. That's all we want to. That's all we want, right? See the crops grow. That's it. We all want the same thing. We
We
all have
all
to
want the
remember
same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
We all want the same thing. It's just how much are you going to focus? How can you focus well enough to do it? Can you can you can you say no to particular things that doesn't relate? If someone says, "Hey, you're supposed to be planting an apple tree," oh, really? Let me go find the apple tree. No, stop it! You're supposed to be planting the chilies. Look, look. It's it's fine if you want to make you. It's fine if you want to make it super gorgeous with for agro-tourism. You want to bring people in. You want to do this. You want to grow strawberries. You want to do all that. It's fine. No problem if you want to go down that road. But before you go down that road, get your cash flow running. Is big is if you do not have your cash flow running, you're gonna start sweating.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna lose focus. Stop it. Stop it. Concentrate on the cash flow. Say no to things that
Distract.
is this will distract you. Say no to those things. Okay. Give me a minute. Carry on first.
All right. So, yeah, for me, this is the most in this episode when designing your farm, like how you saw Jeff's map out. You can see there's zones. So there's zone 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice the increment of the number represents. Yeah, you start from 0. Everyone starts from 0. So you have to focus like that. You don't focus on 5 immediately. You just slowly expand your work capacity. The main issue in for many farmers here, like I've mentioned in the previous episodes, is it's good to have a big dream, to have a vision. It's important, but you have to also stay grounded within reality. Don't forget your limits because we tend to get too excited and just cast a huge net and expect great returns, but sometimes our ship is not big enough for that huge catch. So we bite more than we can chew, and then we get overloaded with work. That's where design comes in, and that's the value of design because it takes account of your work capacity, how much workload you can handle at your current time, your current situation, and most importantly, your current financial situation. For Jeff's side, the watermelon farmer, like you mentioned, limited funds. Don't expect him, if you have limited funds, don't expect to have infrastructure that are expensive. Don't have suddenly make a greenhouse. Don't go all machinery. Don't hire a big excavator to do many things because all that is funds, all that is capital leaving, that is spending, that is cost, that's money going out of your pocket, out of the farmer's pocket. We don't want that. We want to focus, like how Jeff told me, focus on cash flow, cash flowing in your farm. So for me, for my farm right now, I have to grow more chilies. For Jeff, at least he has that clean slate. Right now, he does have watermelon, even though they're not creme de la creme. He still focus on taking care of it, the foundation. Give me a moment. Yep. Okay. But yeah, what I'm saying is fantasy is good to have a dream, but remember you have to go back to reality, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of the outside voices will give you this flowery, picture perfect suggestions and ideas that would entice you, that would make you, distracted. That's why you get distracted because it looks pretty. But again, from the first episode, it looks pretty, but it's pretty useless because sometimes those external advices, it would, damage you more than it helps. We don't want that. We just want things to go easy. We want it to be reasonable. We want to help the farmers.
Yeah, yeah, true that. We really do. A lot of people can say, a lot of people say that we want to help the farmers, we want to help the farmers, we want to help the farmers. So, how can you really help the farmers? What is it the farmer really needs? What? A new
Consistent
tractor, a
passion
new
flow.
greenhouse, a new subsidies. Subsidies are good, but it's not good enough. What is it that the farmer really needs? The farmer really needs, in my view, proper education. Proper
Mm.
education on what he should and should not be doing. That to me is very, very important. So we're just trying to say in our small little teeny tiny corner of of this industry in Brunei, very teeny tiny corner here. But this is what we're just trying to say.
Yeah.
First and foremost, concentrate on your cash flow. Forget about all the bells and whistles. Forget about the drones. Forget about the high techness. Forget about all that jazz. Forget about all the pretty flowers that people give you. Forget about all that. Forget about all the strawberries. Forget about all that jazz. Seriously, it's all useless. Just concentrate on what can make you the cash flow. Doesn't matter how much it is, just get something in and get it in consistently.
Yeah.
Once you can get it in consistently, then, only then, can you be going into other things within your farm. Now you can look at your strawberries. Now you can start looking at your drones. If you don't have that consistent cash flow in, forget about looking at the drone. Forget about the high tech. What is high tech? Tell me, what's high tech?
Robots.
Is that
Robots.
high tech? The robot will not survive Brunei weather at all. It's going to get fried. How? Look, you, we all keep forgetting Brunei is a unique country. We are less than half a million. Okay, let's talk facts, right? We're less than half a million. We're only 30 years of agriculture in. We're very, very young. We're a baby
Mm.
in the
Mm.
terms of agriculture. We're fishermen. Bruneians are fishermen and hunter gatherers, have always been, and still are. The amount of people that love to fish is huge. Our agriculture is still weak, even to this day. We've had many people to try to come into the country to grow and have left. Why? Because it's just that difficult. If you're trying to export, why? The land is tiny. If you want to export, you're going to have to chop down a lot of the trees just to start the exportation. But what do you want to export? Again, our the way we grow things, it's not that solid. So how can you export? And before you even export, you need to supply the local economy first. Once
Mhm.
you can supply the economy, and when you get abundance, that's when you should go into exportation. Forget
Mm.
about all that jazz. Look into the country itself. Concentrate on our own culture, on our own people, on our own food. Concentrate on that. Once you've done that, everything else will fall into place instead of jumping the gun. We need more education. We need more research. We don't have enough. We're still struggling like little babies trying to get to the bottle. That's how bad it is. Look, like you said, no, that's just the way I say it. That's just the way I say it. I can't stand it anymore. You take a flame and you burn your hand, you burn your finger. It's like, oh, that hurts. Let's do it again. Oh, that hurts. Let's do it again. How many
Yeah.
times you want to do that? How many times you want to do that? It's frustrating. Absolutely frustrating.
Yeah,
And
the
that's
amount
what.
of the amount of farms that probably you've witnessed, start and then failed and then closed down is a lot, and that like it hurts to see it happen over and over again. So we just want to not see that. You get me?
Yeah, I don't want to see that happen. But you don't. But the thing is, when you're so set in your ways and you're so set in so-called quote unquote tradition or whatever you want to call it, you don't want to change. You have to change. The time to change is now. You don't
Yeah.
understand. The prices of everything is on a rise. Normal pesticides and fertilizer is climbing. We don't have a seed company here. If no one wants to send seeds to the country, then we're stuck. We don't have any seeds. It's like, God, don't understand how much trouble we are in, and no one wants to see it. Can you imagine?
There was a
Really?
month. There was a month, 2020. At the end of it, no, is it the
During
end of
COVID?
it? It was during
That was during
COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
It was
No
during
seed.
COVID. There was like a month where shipment didn't come in, so the seed shop just had nothing, and everyone just bought everything. And then they're like, keep every day we keep going there, like, do you have seeds? No. Do you have seeds? No, no. We could
It's
sell you
sad.
this amount of. It was like a minuscule amount. It would sell like this much of seed. It was like less than 10 long bean for $1. And I'm like, that's all you got? Yeah,
Price
yeah.
hike.
I'm like,
They took that as a way to increase the price, but through that, you should be we should be able to say, oh, we should start preparing to not get into that problem again.
yeah, yeah.
But nothing is done. That's a major. That's a big
That
problem.
that's another can of worms that you can open. The
There's
topic of
dude.
seeds.
There's many can of worms I can open.
Yeah. Yes.
There's many I can open. Sometimes I just find out. Pause. Hold on. All right. Apparently this is the way it is. So what can I say? Which I really don't like that saying. It's that's just the way it is. That's just the way it
Mm.
is. I really don't like that because it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have
Just
to be.
roll
It
with
does
the
not have to
punches
be.
for now and then find a way when the opportunity comes.
If it comes, if it comes, we're so lagging behind and everything is it's ridiculous, man. Here's my plan. Here's my plan. Here's fantasy. Okay, dude. I'm on a roll. I'm just gonna blabber it out, right? So this is
Go, go, go.
fantasy. This is fantasy land in my head. This is the way it should be done. This is the way it should be done. Take over Wasan, right? With all the bells and whistles, pow, 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 take over, and then completely change their so-called way of structure there. Really change out those, no, really get the students thinking on their feet. No more of this hydroponic. Hydroponic should be a small little course. It should be out in the field, fruit
Mm.
trees, and learn about fruit trees and vegetables and how to take care of them and how to grow them. You set up this education. You go into education, but education is not just for teenagers. It's for everyone, farmers and hobbyists and stuff. And you give them ideas. You make a huge, gigantic plan, and if someone goes, we want to do a watermelon farm. Okay, come on over here. Let me teach you. What do you know about watermelon? And then you tell them everything about watermelon. What is a sporting species? What are the things that it likes or it doesn't like? proper education, and then you put them into the field. You throw them. You go, all right. So we've done a 1 month of theoretical studies. Now, the rest of the year, here's 1 acre.
Do it.
Here's half acre. Here's half acre. Go do.
Yeah.
Just go out and do it at the school. And the professor, lecturer, teacher, whomever you want, whatever you want to say, will check on them. Will check on them once every 3 days.
Wow. That's a
You
bit
can't do much
frequent.
in one. You can't do much in 1 day. You can't really do much in
Yes.
1 day. 3 days, more or less, something is developing. If they are working hard, there you go. You can see the development. Within a year, you should have been able to grow at least two cycles. 1 year, you can at least do 2 cycles. Let them keep doing it for another half a year or so. If you see that they're strong enough, now you go to the government and you talk to the government going, I have someone ready to go into watermelon. We need land. We need a flat land. We need a flat land with electricity and water. You find me that land. Don't give me a jungle. You find me that land. And then we got this guy who has been training for a year and a half at our school. You give the land, we find an investor to support this dude. He goes onto that land right immediately after school. When you do that, you will bypass all your mistakes that you did within the first year of doing it within the school. You already bypass the mistakes, and then you know exactly, you know more to start a farm than anyone else, especially a watermelon farm. You know what not to do, so you can do other things. Isn't
Yep.
isn't that a fascinating idea? It's another one of my
That's,
rants.
that's a dream. That is a dream.
Just another one of my rants. Okay. Anyway, take it away, dude. Take it away.
But yeah, it's basically, even though it's a dream, it makes sense for the country to actually like really focus on food security. That's why I started farming. It's food security. And then later on, when I first met Jeff, it basically, my understanding of Brunei's food security just got clearer to the fact that Brunei's food security is really horrible. And then my experience in growing, it's a sign that we actually really need help. And we cannot do this alone. Again, the reason why we do this compost diary is again to remind, to tell people that they're not alone in Brunei, they're not alone. We need to band together, we need to collaborate, we need to work together, see where our strengths and our weaknesses are at. And from there, things can happen. Big things can happen when a good amount of people, work together for one goal.
We'll
Yep.
see. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, next 2 weeks I'll give you an update on the watermelon farm, if he wants to carry on with the idea or not. Let's see, and we'll take it from there.
All right. Yeah. So, any more last remarks for this episode, Jeff? In terms of for design, for design.
Take your time with the design. You don't have to rush it. Just make sure, please, oh please, oh please, oh please, oh please, make sure your headquarters is tidy, nice, clean. Keep that headquarters clean and tidy and organized. And then everything else on the farm, concentrate on your cash flow and then everything else will flow into place itself later on. But don't give up hope. And if you feel stuck, reach out for help.
Like always, you can find Jeff on Instagram. He is known as the Tropical Farmer. You can find me on Instagram. I'm known as the Grays, and this is the Compost Diaries. We'll have more episodes on the way. Like Jeff said, a lot of can of worms to open up in the future. You should expect more rants from him and more rants from me. So yes. All right, so we can wrap it up now. Anything else, Jeff? Anything else?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. We'll save it for the next one.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for anyone to watch till the end. So this is Compost Diary. Bye, everybody. Good night.
Good night.